Abbott Smith Freehill's partner Jason Betts specialises in class actions, and he joins us today to discuss the latest developments in this area. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Jason, to start with, you've predicted that we'll see more class actions in 2017 and that they'll typically be bigger than in previous years. What's driving this?
Three things are driving that. Firstly, we are seeing more third-party litigation funders enter the Australian market. International funders increasing their presence here, but also domestic funders who are looking to fund more operations in this country because of the growth of the industry. Secondly, we're seeing more plaintiffs' law firms emerge into our market. Smaller firms preparing to style themselves as class action firms across a portfolio of matters, and larger firms rebranding themselves stylistically to focus more on class action work. And thirdly, because of those two factors, we're seeing the pursuit of more opportunities within our market, trying to find some real estate within which to commence these claims and separate themselves from their competitors.
What impact do you think litigation funding is going to have over the next 12 months or so?
Funding is an enormous driver of class action growth in Australia, and the reality is the majority of the largest cases in this country are supported by a funder. So funding goes, so does class actions go. And we're seeing funders move into the market more aggressively, but also pursuing more opportunities because their modus operandi is entrepreneurial. The effect of that, of course, is that we see new cases, new subject matter area, parts of the market that weren't developed previously opening up, and that causes the volume of class actions to increase also.
So greater diversity appears to be on the cards. What sorts of claims will become more prevalent?
Well, we have an established tradition of shareholder class action litigation, but I think we'll see more smaller size shareholder class action litigation commenced as these new players explore those areas. Product liability claims are also enjoying a renaissance, particularly smaller firms who are piggybacking off the kinds of claims that are being commenced in the United States and replicating them here. Depending on the outcome of a number of regulatory investigations, we may also see more cartel conduct and competitive class actions commenced. At the same time, I would expect to see more consumer contract claims commenced, attacking practices around franchisor conduct or payment systems or employment practices. In addition to that, environmental toxic torts are on the agenda as developing in our country more immediately than climate change litigation, which is a threat but probably a few years away from crystallising.
Are there any other trends that you expect will come to the fore this year?
I think we'll see this year the answer to two big questions maybe emerge. The first is we are seeing more competing class actions arise in jurisdictions across the country, the same class action litigation being litigated by different classes, different lawyers, but the subject matter is the same. Procedurally complex and a nightmare, but also creates a difficult position for defendants who are faced with litigation of the same nature in two jurisdictions. It is probably time for us to answer as a country a question about whether we want that practice to continue or to legislate to streamline all litigation into the one court before the one judge. That's one question that 2017 may start to reveal some answers to. The second relates to contingency fees. With the enormous growth of funders who are able to charge a contingency, there is increasing calls for lawyers to be able to do the same and to remove the prohibition in this country on contingency fees. Putting to one side whether or not that's a good thing, it's possible that one or two states this year will finally crack to the pressure of continuing calls for that change. Now, if that does occur, lawyers potentially have the same economic incentives to fund claims as funders, and that would augur for more class action litigation in this country.
Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.